Maya's hands wouldn't stop shaking. The camera on her phone made a soft shutter sound as she photographed the ledger spread across Kang Jin-seok's mahogany desk. Page after page of coded transactions, arms shipments to Lagos, money laundering routes through Singapore and Dubai, shell companies in the Cayman Islands, all bearing one signature at the bottom of each page, precise and deliberate. Kang Jin-seok. Her boss of exactly 3 days. She'd taken this job thinking it was her way out of debt, out of struggle, out of the endless grind of trying to keep her mother's medical bills paid while drowning in student loans. A personal assistant position paying $200,000 a year. It was insane money. Too good to be true. And she'd been right. The office door opened behind her with a whisper of expensive hinges. Maya froze. The phone was still in her hand, pointed at the ledger. The evidence of what she'd discovered glowing on the screen. Footsteps. Measured. Unhurried. The kind of walk that belonged to someone who'd never needed to rush because everything waited for him. Maya. His voice was silk wrapped around steel. Korean accent smooth, controlled, lethal in its calmness. "What are you doing at my desk?" She turned slowly. Kang Jin-seok stood in the doorway of his private office, backlit by the floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked Seoul's glittering skyline. His suit was perfect. His expression was unreadable. But his eyes were watching her, the way a wolf watches prey that's just realized it's been cornered. Maya's throat went dry. If you love dark thrillers where the heroine has to outsmart the villain, subscribe now. This story gets dangerous. Comment if you'd take this job. Maya had walked into the interview expecting a corporate office. Glass, chrome, the usual tech startup aesthetic that Seoul did so well. What she got instead was a penthouse that looked like it belonged in an architecture magazine. Minimalist. Expensive. Every surface polished to a mirror shine. The receptionist had been polite, but distant. "Mr. Kang will see you now." She was led into an office where a man sat behind a desk that probably cost more than her rent. Kang Jin-seok looked up, and Maya felt the air shift. Mid-30s, sharp jawline, eyes that missed nothing, wearing a black suit with no tie like he had nothing to prove. "Miss Adebayo." He stood, extended a hand. His grip was firm but not aggressive. "Thank you for coming. Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Kang." Jin-seok is fine. He gestured to the chair across from him. "Please." The interview had been strange. Normal questions about her experience, her skills, her availability. But there had been other questions too, about her family, about her father, whether she had siblings, whether she traveled often. Personal questions wrapped in professional curiosity. And then he'd named the salary. $200,000 per year. Health insurance, housing allowance, 2 weeks paid vacation. Maya had blinked. "I'm sorry, did you say 200? "Yes." Jin-seok leaned back in his chair, studying her. "The role is demanding. I need someone who can handle pressure. Someone intelligent. Someone who doesn't quit easily." He smiled then. Just slightly. "I don't rehire assistants who quit." The words landed like a stone in still water. Maya laughed, trying to pass it off as a joke, but something in his eyes told her it wasn't. She should have walked out. Should have trusted the instinct screaming at her that something was wrong. But she thought about her mother's medication. About the debt collectors calling 3 times a day. About the eviction notice taped to her apartment door. "When do I start?" she asked. Jin-seok's smile widened. "Just a fraction. Tomorrow." The first 2 days had been almost normal. Almost. Jin-seok had been the perfect boss. On time, professional, respectful. He'd given her tasks. Schedule meetings, organize files, handle correspondence. Nothing that raised alarms. The office staff were efficient and silent. Men in dark suits who moved through the space like shadows. No one smiled much. No one asked questions. Maya had told herself she was being paranoid, that this was just how wealthy entrepreneurs operated, that the money was real and she deserved it. On the third day, everything changed. Maya. Jin Seok had appeared in her workspace around 3 p.m., jacket off, sleeves rolled to his elbows. He looked almost relaxed, almost human. I need you to file these documents in my private office, second drawer, left side of the desk. He handed her a manila folder and a keycard. Lock the door when you're done. She nodded, took the folder, walked into his office, a space she hadn't been allowed to enter before. The room was darker than the rest of the penthouse. Heavier. The desk dominated the space, and behind it, a wall of windows showed the city spread out like a circuit board of light. Maya moved to the desk, opened the second drawer, filed the documents. She should have left, should have walked straight out and locked the door behind her. But she saw it. A leather ledger. Black. Expensive. Sitting on top of the desk like it had been left there on purpose. Her hands moved before her brain caught up. She opened it. The first page was coded. Numbers and letters that made no sense. But the second page had clarifications, shipping manifests, transaction codes, amounts that made her stomach drop. $4.7 million, Lagos shipment, AR-15 components, $12 million, Dubai transfer, offshore account number 4782, $2.3 million. Outstanding, Adebayo, M, collecting. Maya's heart stopped. Adebayo, M, Michael Adebayo. Her father's name. Her father who'd died 10 years ago from a heart attack. Her father who'd worked in accounting. Her father who'd never mentioned anything about millions of dollars or offshore accounts or debts to criminals. She should close the ledger. Walk out. Pretend she never saw it. But if her father was connected to this, if he'd been involved in something that got him killed. Her hand trembled as she pulled out her phone. She started photographing. 1 page, 2, 3. Evidence. Proof. Insurance against whatever trap she'd just walked into. That's when she heard the door open behind her. Kang Jin-seok stood in the doorway, one hand in his pocket, the other holding a glass of whiskey. He took a slow sip, watching her over the rim with eyes that held no surprise, no anger. Just patience. I've been waiting for you to find that, he said quietly. Maya's phone was still in her hand. The ledger was still open. There was no way to pretend she hadn't seen it. No way to lie her way out. Her voice cracked. I was just photographing evidence of my illegal operations? Jin Seok finished for her. He walked into the room, closed the door behind him with a soft click. Don't insult my intelligence by pretending otherwise. He moved to the windows, turned his back to her like he wasn't worried about what she might do. Like she was already trapped, and they both knew it. You're very thorough, he continued. 12 photos in 90 seconds. Impressive. Your father would have been proud. Maya's breath caught. My father? Jin Seok turned slowly, and for the first time since she'd met him, his expression shifted. Something colder slid into place. Michael Adebayo, he said. Accountant. Loving father. Devoted husband. His smile was razor thin. And the man who stole $2.3 million from my organization 20 years ago. The room tilted. My father didn't... Your father? Jin Seok interrupted, voice dropping to something quiet and dangerous. Worked for a company that laundered money for my family's business. He got greedy. He skimmed. And then he died very conveniently before anyone could recover what he'd taken. He took another sip of whiskey, eyes never leaving hers. So tell me, Maya, Did you really think this job interview was an accident? Maya's legs felt like they might give out. She gripped the edge of Jin Seok's desk to steady herself, the leather ledger still open between them like evidence at a trial. My father was an accountant, she said, voice barely above a whisper. He worked for a consulting firm. He died of a heart attack when I was 15. He worked for a consulting firm that laundered money, Jin Seok corrected. He moved away from the windows, circling the desk with the kind of patience that made her skin crawl. Specifically my family's money. We had investments that required creative accounting. Your father was very good at his job, until he wasn't. He set his whiskey glass down on the desk with a soft clink. In 2006, we noticed discrepancies. Small at first. 50,000 here. 100,000 there. Amounts that could be explained away as errors, rounding, lost in the complexity of international transfers. Jin Seok's eyes never left hers. But over 18 months, those errors added up to $2.3 million, all traced back to accounts your father controlled. Maya shook her head. That's impossible. My father would never. Your father, Jin Seok said, voice dropping to something cold and final. Opened a safety deposit box 3 weeks before he died. He made arrangements to have the key sent to you on your 25th birthday. He left breadcrumbs, Maya, a trail that would lead you to the money he stole. He paused. Except you never received that key, did you? Her blood went ice cold. How do you know about my birthday? Because I intercepted it 6 years ago. He pulled open a desk drawer, removed a small brass key, and placed it on the ledger between them. I've been holding on to this, waiting, watching you grow up, finish university, struggle with debt, work 3 jobs to keep your mother's medication paid. The key sat there, small and innocuous, representing everything her father had hidden from her. Why? Maya's voice cracked. Why watch me for 6 years? Why not just kill you? Jin Seok finished. Because unlike your father, I don't believe in punishing children for their parents' sins. But I also don't believe in letting debts go unpaid. He leaned against the desk, arms crossed. Your father stole from my family. He died before he could return what he took. That debt transferred to you, whether you knew about it or not. That's insane. I didn't take anything, but you will. His smile was cold. You're going to find your father's money. You're going to bring it to me. And then, maybe, you'll be free. Maya's hands clenched into fists. And if I refuse? Jin Seok's expression didn't change. Then we proceed to less pleasant alternatives. I want to quit. Maya forced the words out, trying to sound stronger than she felt. I'll walk out right now. You can keep your job, your blood money, and whatever revenge fantasy you've been planning for 6 years. She moved toward the door. I wouldn't do that if I were you, Jin Seok said calmly. Maya stopped, hand on the door handle. You going to shoot me in the back? Nothing so dramatic. He pulled out a tablet from his desk drawer, tapped the screen a few times, then turned it toward her. Do you remember the contracts you signed when you accepted this position? Employment agreement, NDA, standard paperwork. Read Section 7, subsection C. Maya took the tablet with shaking hands. The legalese was dense, deliberately complex, but, as she read, the words started to crystallize into something that made her stomach drop. Employee acknowledges awareness of employer's business operations and affiliates, including but not limited to financial transactions, client relationships, and proprietary methodologies. Employee agrees that any disclosure of such information constitutes willing participation in said operations. This doesn't mean anything, Maya said, but her voice lacked conviction. It means, Jin Seok said, taking the tablet back, that the moment you walked into this office, saw that ledger, and chose to photograph it rather than report it to authorities, you became legally complicit in my operations. You had evidence of criminal activity. You didn't call the police. You didn't walk away. You gathered intelligence. He pulled up another document on the tablet. Security camera footage, time-stamped, showing Maya at his desk, phone in hand, photographing page after page. 3 minutes and 40 seconds, Jin Seok said. That's how long you stood there, documenting my business. A prosecutor would call that premeditation, conspiracy. You weren't a victim who stumbled onto evidence. You were actively collecting information about criminal operations. I was trying to protect myself. By gathering blackmail material? Jin Seok's eyebrow raised. That's what a jury would hear. The daughter of a known thief, caught red-handed photographing her employer's private documents. And when the prosecution reveals that your employer is connected to organized crime, they'll ask, why didn't she call the police immediately? Why didn't she run? Maya felt the walls closing in. Because you would have killed me. Prove it. His smile was razor-sharp. I never threatened you. Never touched you. I offered you a job. You accepted. I was nothing but professional for 3 days. And then you violated my privacy by accessing documents you had no authorization to see. He set the tablet down. You walk out that door, Maya, and I make one phone call. By tomorrow morning, you'll be arrested for conspiracy, espionage, and blackmail. Your mother loses her daughter. Your family name, already tainted by your father's theft, becomes synonymous with criminal enterprise. The air in the room felt too thin. Or, Jin Seok continued, voice softening to something almost gentle, you stay. You work with me. You find your father's money. You clear both of your debts. And when this is over, you walk away with a clean slate and enough money to take care of your mother for the rest of her life. Maya's vision blurred. This wasn't a choice. This was a trap disguised as an option. How do I know you won't kill me the second I find the money? Jin Seok stood, buttoned his jacket with precise movements. You don't. But you know with certainty what happens if you leave now. Prison. Poverty. Your mother alone. He moved toward the door, paused beside her. At least this way, you have a chance. He reached past her, opened the door. You're not a prisoner, Maya. You can leave any time you want. The door isn't locked. The elevator works. No one will stop you. She looked at the open doorway. Freedom. Escape. Arrest. But once you walk out, Jin Seok added quietly, you can never come back. And the people I work with don't forgive loose ends. Maya stayed frozen. Jin Seok nodded, as if she'd already made her decision. Smart choice. We start tomorrow, 9 a.m. Dress professionally. We're visiting your father's old workplace. He walked out, leaving her standing in his office, the ledger still open on his desk, the brass key glinting under the overhead lights. She was trapped. Not by locked doors or physical restraints, but by signatures on contracts she'd barely read, by photographs that painted her as complicit, by debts that transferred through blood. Maya didn't sleep that night. She sat in her small apartment, the one she'd somehow have to keep pretending was normal, and stared at her phone. The photos of the ledger were still there. Evidence, proof, insurance, or blackmail material that proved her guilt. She could delete them. But Jin Seok already had the security, footage showing her taking them. Deleting them now would look like destroying evidence. She could go to the police, but with what? Photos she'd stolen from her employer's desk? An NDA that painted her as a willing participant? A story about her dead father stealing millions from the Mafia? They'd laugh her out of the station. Or worse, arrest her. At 3 a.m. her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Get some sleep. Tomorrow is a long day. She didn't respond. Didn't need to. He was watching. Always watching. Another text came through. Unknown number. Your mother's medication was refilled today, paid in full. Consider it an advance on your salary. Maya's hands shook. He'd paid for her mother's medication, a kindness wrapped in a threat, proof that he could reach her family any time he wanted. A third message. Unknown number. I'm not your enemy, Maya. I'm the only person who can get you out of this. Trust takes time, but we have plenty of that. She threw the phone across the room. At 8:45 a.m., she was standing outside Jin Seok's building, wearing the most professional outfit she owned, her face composed into a mask of cooperation. He was waiting in the lobby, looking like he'd slept perfectly. Probably had. Ready? He asked. Do I have a choice? You always have a choice. He gestured toward the black car idling at the curb. The question is whether you're brave enough to make it. They drove in silence to a commercial building in Gangnam, the consulting firm her father had worked for, now under different management, different name, but same address. Jin Seok led her inside, bypassing security with a nod that suggested he'd been here many times before. They took an elevator to the 7th floor, walked down a hallway lined with generic corporate art, and stopped outside an office labeled Archives. Your father kept meticulous records, Jin Seok said, unlocking the door with a key that shouldn't have worked anymore. He documented everything, every transaction, every account number, every password. He pushed the door open, including where he hid the money he stole from me. The archive room was filled with filing cabinets, boxes stacked floor to ceiling, and the musty smell of old paper. It's somewhere in here, Jin Seok said. Find it. Maya stared at the endless rows of documents. This could take weeks. Then we'd better get started. He handed her a pair of latex gloves. I'll be in the conference room. You have until 6 p.m.? And if I don't find anything? Jin Seok's smile was thin. Then we come back tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after that. Until you do. He left her alone in the archive room, surrounded by her father's secrets, with the weight of impossible choices pressing down on her shoulders. Maya pulled on the gloves and started searching. But in the back of her mind, a plan was already forming. If Jin Seok wanted her to find the money, she would. But not to give it to him. She'd use it as leverage, as insurance, as the only card she had left to play. Because men like Kang Jin-seok didn't let people go just because debts were paid. They let people go when keeping them became more dangerous than releasing them. And Maya was about to become very, very dangerous. 3 weeks. That's how long Maya spent pretending to search for her father's money while actually building her escape plan. By day, she played the obedient assistant, filed Jin Seok's documents, attended his meetings, smiled politely at the men in dark suits who treated her like she was already part of the organization. By night, she became someone else. She'd found an encrypted USB drive in her father's archive files, hidden inside a hollowed-out copy of the accounting textbook. The drive contained everything. Account numbers, transfer routes, names of people her father had worked with. And most importantly, a detailed map of where he'd hidden the $2.3 million. But Maya didn't tell Jin Seok. Instead, she started copying his files. Every document she could access, every conversation she could record on her phone, every meeting she attended became evidence she'd need later. She was building an insurance policy, one that would either buy her freedom or bury Jin Seok if he tried to kill her. Jin Seok, for his part, seemed almost patient. He never pushed, never threatened. Just watched her with those calculating eyes, as if he knew exactly what she was doing and was curious to see how far she'd take it. You're getting better at this, he said one afternoon, after she'd successfully organized a meeting with 3 of his business associates, men whose names she'd seen on Interpol watch lists. At what? Maya asked, not looking up from her tablet. Pretending you're not terrified. He moved closer, close enough that she could smell his cologne, something expensive and understated. Most people break by week 2. You're still here. Still fighting. Maybe I'm not pretending. Jin Seok's smile was slight, almost genuine. Maybe. Or maybe you're just very good at lying to yourself. He reached past her to grab a file from the desk, and his hand brushed against hers. The contact was brief. Probably accidental. But Maya's pulse jumped anyway. I'm going to Busan tomorrow, Jin Seok said, stepping back. Business meeting. I'll be gone 3 days. This was it. Her window. Do you need me to prepare anything? She asked, keeping her voice neutral. No. Dong Hyun will handle it. He studied her face. You'll be alone in the office. I trust that won't be a problem. It was a test. They both knew it. Of course not, Maya said. Jin Seok nodded slowly. Good. Because if I come back and find that anything is missing, I'll be very disappointed. I understand. Do you? He tilted his head slightly. Your father disappointed me once. I'd hate for history to repeat itself. The threat was wrapped in silk, but it was still a threat. He left the next morning without another word. Maya waited exactly 4 hours before making her move. She'd planned everything carefully. Copy the remaining files. Transfer them to a secure cloud account. Then use Jin Seok's absence to access the safety deposit box her father had rented under a false name. But when she arrived at the bank, someone was already there. A woman, mid-30s. Elegant in the way that came from old money and careful maintenance. She stood at the safety deposit counter, speaking to the bank manager in rapid Korean. Maya's Korean was good enough to catch fragments of the conversation. Account 2, 847. Michael Adebayo. Transfer of ownership. Her blood went cold. The woman turned and their eyes met. Recognition flashed across the woman's face. You must be Maya. Maya's hand instinctively moved toward her phone. Who are you? Seoyeon Park. The woman's smile didn't reach her eyes. I worked with your father, and with Jin Seok. She gestured toward a private consultation room. We should talk, away from cameras. Every instinct screamed at Maya to run, but if this woman knew about the safety deposit box, knew about her father, knew about Jin Seok, she followed. The consultation room was small, windowless, soundproof. Seoyeon closed the door with a soft click. Your father was a brilliant man, Seoyeon said, sitting down with practiced grace. Too brilliant. He saw patterns in our organization's finances that even we didn't notice. He knew exactly how much could be skimmed without raising alarms. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do. You found his USB drive 3 weeks ago. You've been copying Jin Seok's files ever since. And now you're here to claim what your father left you. Seoyeon's expression was unreadable. The question is, what do you plan to do with it? Maya's hand tightened on her purse. How do you know? Because I've been watching you the same way Jin Seok has. Except unlike him, I don't have emotional attachment clouding my judgment. He's not emotionally attached to me. Seoyeon laughed. It was a cold, bitter sound. Oh, sweetheart, he's been planning this for 6 years. He could have collected the debt 100 different ways. He could have had you killed the moment you walked into that office. But instead, he hired you, watched you, gave you just enough rope to either hang yourself or pull yourself free. She leaned forward. Do you know why? Maya didn't answer. Because you remind him of someone he used to be, before the family business consumed him. Before he became the monster wearing his father's face. Seoyeon's voice dropped. Jin Seok doesn't want your father's money, Maya. He wants you to choose him, to stay willingly, to become part of this world not because you're trapped, but because you want to be. That's insane. That's obsession. Seo-yeon stood. And obsessed men make mistakes. Mistakes that people like me can exploit. She placed a business card on the table. When you're ready to destroy him, and you will be eventually, call me. I'll help you disappear. Witness protection. New identity. Your mother will be taken care of. Why would you help me? Because Jin-seok took something from me once, and I've been waiting a very long time for leverage. Seo-yeon moved toward the door. The safety deposit box is registered under the name Michael Chen, box 2847. The key you have will open it. But if you access it, Jin-seok will know. He has people here. He always has people everywhere. She opened the door, paused. Choose carefully, Maya. Because once you take that money, there's no going back. You'll either be his partner or his enemy. And his enemies don't live long. Then she was gone. Maya sat in the empty room staring at the business card. Her phone buzzed. Jin-seok. How's your day off? Staying out of trouble? Her hands shook as she typed back. Maya. Just running errands, nothing exciting. Jin-seok. Good. I'd hate for something to happen while I'm away. Another message came through immediately. Jin-seok. By the way, Seo-yeon Park contacted you yet? Maya's breath stopped. Jin-seok. She will. She's been trying to undermine me for 3 years. Don't believe everything she tells you. But don't disbelieve everything either. Truth is usually somewhere in the middle. Jin-seok. See you in 3 days. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. He knew. He'd known Seo-yeon would approach her. He'd probably orchestrated it. Everything was a test. Every choice. Every moment. Maya looked at the business card in her hand, then at her phone. She made her decision. Maya accessed the safety deposit box that night. She told herself it was just reconnaissance, just gathering information, just seeing what her father had left behind. But when she opened box 2847, what she found changed everything. The money was there. Stacks of $100 bills in vacuum-sealed bags. $2.3 million, exactly as Jin-seok had said. But there was something else. A letter. Handwritten. Addressed to her. My dearest Maya, if you're reading this, then I'm gone and you've found what I left behind. I'm so sorry. Sorry for the burden I'm placing on you. Sorry for the danger I've put you in. Sorry for not being brave enough to fix this while I was alive. The money in this box isn't what Kang Jin-seok thinks it is. I didn't steal from him. I was stealing it back, from the people who murdered his father. From the people who are now using his organization to launder their blood money. Jin-seok's father, Kang Hyun-woo, discovered the same thing I did. Someone inside the organization was skimming millions. When Hyun-woo tried to expose them, they killed him and made it look like a business dispute. Jin-seok was 17 when his father died. He inherited an empire built on lies. I tried to gather enough evidence to expose them, but they found out. They came for me. I hid the money and the evidence because I knew if they got both, they'd destroy everything. The evidence is in a second box. Box 2848. Same bank. Use the small key attached to this letter. Maya. Jin-seok isn't your enemy. He's a victim who became a weapon. If you're reading this, he's probably found you. He's probably using his father's debt as leverage. He doesn't know the truth. He thinks I betrayed his family. Show him the evidence. Make him understand. And please, please forgive me for leaving you to clean up the mess I couldn't fix. I love you. Always have. Always will. Dad. Maya's hands trembled as she read the letter again. And again. A small brass key was taped to the bottom of the page. Box 2848. She opened it with shaking hands. Inside were folders. Dozens of them. Financial records. Photographs. Audio recordings on USB drives. All documenting a conspiracy that went back 30 years. Names she recognized. Government officials. corporate executives. And at the center of it all, Seoyan Park. Her father's notes were meticulous. Seoyan Park, inside operative, orchestrated Kang Hyun-woo's assassination, currently working to position herself as Jin Seok's successor. Plans to eliminate him once the transition is complete. Maya's phone rang. Jin Seok's name flashed on the screen. She answered with a voice she didn't recognize as her own. "Hello? Maya?" His voice was tense. "Where are you?" "Home." "Why?" "I'm coming back early. Don't leave your apartment. Don't answer the door for anyone. I'll explain when I get there." "What's wrong?" A pause. Then, Seo Yan made her move. "She's been planning a takeover, and she thinks you're her leverage." The line went dead. Maya looked at the folders spread around her. The truth about Jin Seok's father. The truth about the money. The truth about who the real enemy was. She had two choices. Trust Jin Seok and show him the evidence. Or trust Seo Yan and use the evidence to destroy them both. Maya didn't go home. She went to the one place she knew would be watched, but not entered. The archive room where this had all started. She spread the evidence across the floor. Her father's letter, the financial records, the photographs proving Seo Yan had orchestrated everything. And she waited. Jin Seok arrived at midnight. He didn't look like the controlled, calculated man who'd trapped her 3 weeks ago. He looked human, worried, angry. "You should have stayed home," he said. "I found something." Maya gestured to the evidence. "You need to see this." Jin Seok's eyes scanned the documents, and with each page his expression shifted, from confusion to recognition to something that looked like grief. "My father," he said quietly. He knew. He was trying to stop her. And my father was helping him. He didn't steal from you. He was stealing back what Seo Yan took. Maya's voice was steady now. "Everything you thought you knew was a lie." Jin Seok picked up the letter, read it silently. When he looked up, his eyes were blazing with something dangerous. "Where is she?" "I don't know. But she has people, resources, and she thinks I'm working with her now." Maya met his gaze. "We can use that." "We?" "You wanted me to choose. Partner or enemy?" Maya stood facing him across the evidence that had cost both their fathers their lives. "I choose partner, but on my terms. We take her down together. We clear both our fathers' names. And then we're done. No debts, no obligations. We walk away clean." Jin Seok studied her for a long moment. Then he extended his hand. "Partners." She shook it. His grip was firm, warm, and for the first time since she'd walked into his office, Maya felt like she was making a choice that was actually hers. "She'll come for us," Jin Seok said. "I know. People will die. I know. You might die." Maya's smile was grim. "Then, she'd better be ready, because I'm my father's daughter. And apparently, we don't back down from impossible fights." Jin Seok's expression softened. Just slightly. "He'd be proud of you." Before Maya could respond, her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. A photo loaded. Her mother, bound to a chair. Seo Yan standing behind her with a gun to her head. The message below was simple. "Come alone to the address below. You have 1 hour. Bring the evidence, or she dies." Maya's world stopped. Jin Seok saw her face, grabbed the phone, looked at the screen. His jaw clenched. "It's a trap." "I know. She'll kill you both anyway." "I know. Then we don't go alone." Jin Seok pulled out his own phone, made 3 rapid calls in Korean. "I'm calling everyone I trust. We hit her location with overwhelming force. She'll see us coming. She'll kill my mother the second—" "No." Jin Seok's voice was absolute. "She won't. Because you're going to call her. You're going to tell her you're coming alone, exactly as she asked. And you're going to wear a wire. The second she confirms your mother is alive, my team moves in. And if something goes wrong? Jin Seok met her eyes. Then I go in first, and I don't come out until you and your mother do. Maya's breath caught. Why would you do that? Because, Jin Seok said quietly, you're not just a debt to me anymore. And your father saved mine once. It's time I return the favor. The address was an abandoned warehouse in Incheon. Cliché but effective. No witnesses. No cameras. Just empty space and the sound of water dripping from rusted pipes. Maya walked in alone, hands raised, the USB drive with evidence visible in her right hand. Seo-yeon stood in the center of the warehouse, gun still pressed to Maya's mother's temple. Her mother's eyes were wild with terror, but alive. Still alive. Smart girl, Seo-yeon said. I was worried you'd bring Jin Seok. He doesn't know I'm here. The lie came easily now. He always knows. But he's too far away to stop this. Seo-yeon gestured with the gun. The drive. Toss it here. Maya threw it. The USB clattered across the concrete floor. Seo-yeon picked it up, examined it. All of it? Your father's evidence? The financial records? Everything. Good. Seo-yeon pocketed the drive. Now I'm going to tell you what happens next. I let your mother go. You stay with me. Jin Seok comes to rescue you like the hero he thinks he is, and I kill him in front of you. Then I kill you. Then I take over everything your father's built and bled for. Except, a voice said from the darkness, that's not what happens. Jin Seok stepped into the light, gun raised, flanked by 6 men in tactical gear. Seo-yeon's smile didn't falter. Right on time. She pressed a button on her phone. The warehouse. Doors slammed shut. Magnetic locks engaged with heavy thuds. Red laser sights appeared. Not from Jin Seok's men. From the catwalks above. From the shadows. From everywhere. Seo-yeon had 20 gunmen positioned throughout the warehouse. Did you really think, she said softly, that I wouldn't plan for this? Jin Seok's men raised their weapons. Seo-yeon's men did the same. Mexican standoff. Except there were no winners in this game. Nobody moves, Seo-yeon commanded. Nobody shoots. Not until I say. She looked at Maya. You were supposed to be leverage, a bargaining chip. But you've become something more interesting. A catalyst. She pressed the gun harder against Maya's mother's head. So here's the new deal. Jin Seok, you walk away. Leave the organization, disappear, and I let both of them live. No, Jin Seok said. No? You killed my father. You framed Maya's father. You've spent 30 years building this trap. Jin Seok's voice was ice. I'm not walking away. I'm ending this. Then everyone dies. Maybe. Jin Seok looked at Maya. But some things are worth dying for. Maya's hand moved to her pocket. To the second USB drive she'd made, the real evidence, the copy she'd uploaded to cloud storage hours ago, set to release automatically if she didn't check in every 6 hours. Seo-yeon, Maya said calmly, you made a mistake. What mistake? You assumed the drive I gave you was the only copy. Maya pulled out her phone, showed her the screen. I uploaded everything to 20 different news outlets, government agencies, and international crime databases. Timed release, 6 hours. Unless I stop it. Seo-yeon's face went pale. You're bluffing. The same way my father was bluffing when he said he'd hidden the evidence? Maya's smile was her father's smile. Fearless. I'm his daughter. I don't bluff. The warehouse went silent. Seo-yeon's hand trembled on the gun. Jin Seok took 1 step forward. It's over. No. Seo-yeon pulled the trigger. The gunshot echoed like thunder. Maya's mother screamed, but the bullet never hit her. Jin Seok had moved faster than Maya had ever seen anyone move. He'd crossed the distance, knocked the gun aside, the bullet ricocheting off concrete. Chaos erupted. Gunfire, shouting, bodies moving in the darkness. Maya grabbed her mother, pulled her down behind a concrete pillar. When the smoke cleared 30 seconds later, Seo-yeon was on the ground, Jin Seok's gun pressed to her temple, her own weapon kicked away. "It's over," Jin Seok repeated. Seo-yeon laughed. Blood trickled from her mouth. "You think this ends with me? I'm just one piece. The organization is bigger than both of us. They'll come for you. For her. For everyone you love. Let them come." Jin Seok's voice was final. "I'll be ready." Police sirens wailed in the distance. The evidence release had triggered automatically. Maya's 6-hour deadline had passed during the standoff. Everything was about to come crashing down. Jin Seok looked at Maya across the warehouse. Their eyes met. He mouthed 2 words. "Run. Now." Maya grabbed her mother and ran. Maya sat in a cafe in Singapore, watching the rain streak down the windows. Her mother was safe. New name, new life, protected by people Jin Seok had trusted. The news had exploded. Arrests, trials, the entire organization dismantled by the evidence her father had died protecting. Seo-yeon Park was in prison, awaiting trial for murder, conspiracy, racketeering, and Jin Seok. Jin Seok had disappeared the night of the warehouse. No body, no arrest. Just gone. Maya told herself that was good, that he'd gotten away, that he was somewhere rebuilding his life the way she was rebuilding hers. She told herself she didn't miss him. Someone sat down across from her. She looked up. Kang Jin Seok sat there, wearing a simple black jacket, hair longer than before. But those eyes, those calculating, dangerous, impossibly gentle eyes, exactly the same. "Hello, Maya." Her breath caught. "You're supposed to be dead." "I'm good at pretending." He slid a passport across the table. Her photo. Different name. "We have a flight in 3 hours. To where?" "Anywhere you want." "I kept my promise. No debts. No obligations. You're free." He paused. "But I'm asking anyway. Come with me." "Why?" "Because you're the only person I trust. The only person who knows what it costs to survive this. And because..." His voice softened. "Because I walked into that warehouse knowing I might die. And the only thing I regretted was not telling you that you were never just a debt to me." Maya stared at the passport. At the man who'd trapped her. Freed her. Nearly died for her. What would we even do? Jin Seok's smile was slight. Dangerous. Whatever we want. We have $2.3 million. No organization hunting us. No past holding us back. He leaned forward. We could disappear. Or we could finish what our fathers started. Clean up the pieces Seo-yeon left behind. Build something better. That's insane. You took a job meant for someone else and ended up in a mafia war. Insane is your specialty. Maya laughed despite herself. She looked at the passport, at Jin Seok, at the rain-soaked streets of Singapore where no one knew her name. She picked up the passport. "One condition," she said. "We do this as equals. No more tests. No more traps. Partners." Jin Seok extended his hand across the table. "Partners." She shook it. And for the first time since she'd walked into that wrong interview, Maya Adebayo chose her own future. If you want part 2 where Maya and Jin Seok hunt down the remnants of Seo-yeon's network together, comment "Partners" below. Subscribe because the next dark romance drops soon, and it's about a woman who witnesses a murder, and the killer spares her life. Hit that like button if this story just destroyed you emotionally. See you in the next one.